Welcome into the Quad Sanders Show, brought to you by Bryant Family Pharmacy. Michael Westbrook here along with Coach Quad Sanders. And Coach, it's been a little while since we talked. The last game, of course, was the Parkview game, and then we had the off week going into Fort Smith here this week. And so let's backtrack for just a second, and we've got to talk about the 28-27 game. Parkview wins by 1, and a good game, a good second half from your defense. First half a little bit out of control, and so how do you sum up that game? And I know it's been a while ago now with the off week, but how did you wrap that one up?
Yeah, I think you just did. It was a tale of two halves. We had a really good first half by the offense, and then on defense we did not perform, very well. But then we got it fixed on defense, and we just couldn't get it in the end zone on offense, except for that one time in the second half, which we came out hot, and that was the first time all game we put it together. We got the quick turnover and got the ball back, and we scored on the first play. We just never put it together for a whole game.
I'm going to be the one to say it so you don't have to. But social media, of course, lit up after the game. Bryant loses. Everybody's out there. And my immediate thought was they weren't exactly posting about us when we won. So that was my thought on it. And I just wondered kind of how you handled that with the team to move forward, because every team loses along the way. Bryant's just been in a really special spot for a long time.
Right. Well, the thing is, it doesn't really matter what nobody else says. It was going to come a time where it was going to happen. The things that they were saying, they were already saying it anyway. All we did was give them a little more ammo. Not that it'll affect us either positive or negative. There's not motivation we need as a team. I think we did a good job of handling it and understanding nobody really matters but the people surrounding us and the ones who've been supporting us the whole time.
So, Coach, what's an off week like when you don't have a game? How does things change for you in practice, or do you just kind of go about your normal routine?
You just go about the normal routine. The only difference is you don't play on Friday, so you can do a little bit more on Thursday before that week. And I think we got a little more physical than we usually do on a Thursday. Probably went 30 minutes longer. Other than that, the routine was still the same. We were still preparing for a team that we were going to play already because they had a bye week as well. So they had our 3 games. I'm sure they prepared for us, and we had their 3 games, and we prepared for them the same. So it kind of worked out perfect for us and them.
It's a long road trip. I know that's one factor, but if you just look at the games, Fort Smith has not performed well. I think they've been outscored 100 and something to nothing their last 2 games. So how do you go up there and stay focused and take care of business and make sure the players don't get too far ahead of themselves in a game that we should win?
Well, the thing is, we just got to make sure we take care of us. That's kind of been the focus the whole season, and I think that Parkview game showed us we didn't take care of us very well. Not just the kids, it's just the coaches, myself included. We just didn't do a good job of taking care of us and making sure we had everything taken care of. And I think that's the focus going into this game, is make sure we can be on the same page, doing stuff consistently, executing, making sure we on cue with calls and assignments. I think that's the biggest deal as far as them not scoring on anybody else. Yeah, and they got a coaching staff too, and that's what they get paid for. So I'm sure they'll have some of the things fixed that they need to work on going into the bye week. So we can't expect the outcome of that game or those games to be the outcome of our game. It's still football, and you have to go play the game.
Yeah. Well, it's the first conference game. It's still early in the year. Coach, where do you feel like the team has made the most improvement? Is there a certain spot that you feel like has really improved from the first game to where we're at now?
Well, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell with only 3 games in, because one group can look good one week and another group cannot look as well the next week. I think the biggest thing we've improved on is understanding the focus it takes to win a football game. And now hopefully we've gotten the understanding and to be able to move forward and pursue what we're trying to pursue. That's the biggest thing we need to focus on is the concentration it takes and the focus it takes to win a football game.
Years past, Fort Smith has had some pretty good running backs. I know the last couple of years we played them, that's kind of been their key, but tell us a little bit about Fort Smith and what we can expect there.
Well, they're going through some changes right now as far as turnover, but they got a really good quarterback, and they've always had good athletes, so they'll have a lot of athletes on defense, and they'll have some on offense as well, but they got a quarterback that's a baseball player that's pretty good.
So it's interesting, the 7A Central takes us all the way from Fort Smith to Jonesboro.
No.
You don't have to go to Jonesboro this year, but we do go to Fort Smith, and it's the first conference game. So just talk about the importance of making sure you perform and get that 1-0 record in conference play.
I think that's the most important part of this conference play. People talk about the loss, and I don't want to jinx anything, but We haven't lost in 7A. You know, if you want a streak to talk about, that's the most important streak. You know, and so I think just going into conference and being 1-0, that's all that matters. Is just winning the first conference game, because that's definitely a step you want to take in the right direction. You know, I think this is where the playoffs start, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach, do you want to mention, player injured in that Parkview game, and so maybe some changes there in the secondary, and talk about some of those guys that get to fill in and step up and take that role.
Yeah, we've got 2 players injured that come from that game, and I think both of them are going to be probably done for the season. I'm not real sure. We'll see. Just some reevaluation, but that's how we have to go about the season, is just getting the next guy ready. Bryson Adamo, who's a senior cornerback for us, who's kind of been the guy we lean on defense, because we know we can stick him on anybody and lock him down. And then we got JT Allen, who's out right now. So we'll see where it goes from here. But JT's been a starter for us since he was a sophomore. So those are 2 big injuries. But it's nothing nobody else in the conference is not facing. Everybody's going to go through a hard time. It's just how you bounce back, how well of a job we've done as a coach in getting the next guy ready, and how good of a job that next guy has done of getting ready and being prepared for the moment,
Well, Coach, hey, I appreciate the time, and good luck.
Yes, sir.
All right, that's going to do it for the Coach Quad Sanders Show. Again, if you're watching online, thanks for being with us. And if you're watching the game on Friday night, then the kickoff is coming up next.